Dozens of Massachusetts state troopers handing in their badges over the state's vaccine mandate set to kick in on October 17th. With law enforcement already critically understaffed nationwide, is this putting the public in even more danger? Mike Shervin is the president of the State Police Association of Massachusetts and a 25-year veteran of the force, and he joins us now. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sergeant. Why are you fed up?
Well, there just hasn't been time to properly roll this program out. We are in the middle of impact bargaining. The deadlines are here upon us, and we don't have the answers that our members need. Those that are seeking medical and religious exemptions have not been told if they're granted, will they be allowed a reasonable alternative to it, to wear a mask and weekly testing. And because of that, they're looking to other places for employment. And the municipal departments within the state of Massachusetts are offering these reasonable alternatives. So it's not an across-the-board mandate. It's only for the executive branch of Massachusetts, which is affecting my membership.
So state troopers are now taking jobs in municipalities where they just get tested and they have to wear masks, right?
That's correct. For the number that have, for whatever reason, not received their vaccination, they are choosing, and they've submitted their letters of intent. They have not officially resigned, following the policy to notify the department within 30 days of their intent to leave.
How many state troopers are we talking about? What percentage?
I can't give you a percentage right now. We're still within that 30-day window, which was actually changed by the department to allow for 14 days. But I'm very comfortable in stating that it's dozens.
How do you feel about these mandates? I mean, you guys have been heroes and have done this successfully for the last 18 months.
This doesn't come down to the feelings for the mandate for us. This is about fair labor practices and making sure that our members that have been on the front lines can remain on the front lines, and years of experience doesn't walk out the door.
And you did file a lawsuit, and what did the judge say?
The judge denied the lawsuit. We were looking for an extension of the executive order to allow us to continue to impact bargaining.
Here's your governor. This is Charlie Baker.
I think it's critically important for those folks to get vaccinated, which is the reason why we made the decision to require everybody who works in the executive branch to get vaccinated. There have been some pretty significant retirements in the state police over the course of the past couple of years. I think some of that is demography. We'll have to continue to work hard with our folks at the Mass State Police and our folks in the legislature to make sure we fund classes and that we recruit aggressively to refill the ranks.
What's your reaction?
Well, the unfortunate part there is, yes, years of neglect, if you will, for not having classes and keeping up with our numbers. We are down to the lowest that I can recall in my 25-year history. A recent call-in study suggested we should be at 2,900 troopers. We're now about to dip below 2,000. I don't know how we're going to make up these numbers, and that's prior to the possible exodus of dozens of troopers for this mandate.
Wow, and how is that going to affect the community and people when they need to stay safe and we rely on you to keep...
All right, shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. I say Barakateh Yahweh, Barakateh Yahushai, Barakateh Yahweh, Barakateh Yahushai, Barakateh Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honor, as always, to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who are the true teachers of Israel today. Peace, love, blessings, and salutations to the hopeful elect. Habayath Madawadah. The house of David, the brothers is laboring to make their calling of election sure, helping seal the elect of the nation of Israel day in and day out, for the return of our Lord Hamashiach Yahushai is at hand. And to the Akim and Akwathim, the brothers and sisters who also listen and believe on Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, to you I say shalom. So shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. This is the brother Sagalah coming back with another lesson, all through the spirit and power of the Most High Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying for those that have eyes to see and ears to hear through the Rakakwadash. So what we just saw was a quick video from Fox News, and this came out a few weeks ago. I just wanted to jump into it and go into the fact that you see the title. It says, police officers are set to resign in droves over the Crown 99 mandate. And this is going on nationwide. In Texas, I've heard of things in Texas and different parts of the Southeast, Florida, in many different states. So this is going on nationwide, amongst many other things. That's all showing forth that Babylon is falling. As it says in Revelation, the 18th chapter, this place, Babylon, America, it was prophesied to fall and not rise again. So we're witnessing once again the epic implosion of Babylon the Great, which is America. Those are the times that we are living in. So for those that refuse to come back, that refuse to return to the Lord, as an Israelite, of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans who make up the 12 tribes, hey, shame on you, and you will be destroyed by the Most High, because there's a great penalty and punishment for disregarding the words of the Lord and disregarding the words of the prophets, which the Lord gave those words unto the prophets to speak in the ears of all his people. So the punishment is going to be death. And we're seeing it slowly but surely. And I'm going to get into it. 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, we're coming into those times where the scriptures say that in Daniel, the 12th chapter, there's a time coming to the earth, that's never been, ever since there was a nation. And it's the time of Jacob's trouble. But he, speaking of the elect, shall be saved out of it. But 2/3 of you Israelites are not going to be saved out of it. Why? Because you refuse to hearken, because that was the will ultimately of the Most High, is that only the elect would hearken. So we're out being fishers of men, Lord willing, that our works are sufficient for salvation, and that our faith is sufficient unto the Most High to grant us clemency, and that we be of that number. Lord willing, we be of that number. All those, brothers that labor in this truth faithfully, and all the believers who believe and worship the Lord in spirit and in truth. So this is going on nationwide. You can look into it yourself, but this is just an account from Massachusetts. So now people by the droves are leaving the police force, and this is going into the troopers. The head trooper there, the guy that was speaking in the video, he was speaking about how there's, supposed to be over 2,900 members, and now there's dipping, and now those numbers are dipped underneath 2,000. Speaking of troopers, how many have resigned? Just speaking of the troopers that patrol the highways, and byways across the country. So now, let's jump into it. Why is even this man's own people turning against him, his system? Because his ways are grievous. Esau is truly the man of sin. When the wicked are in authority, the earth mourns, the people as well. So the wicked is ruling. When you read Malachi 1:4, it tells you that Esau is the border of wickedness. So all these things are going on under the rule of the wicked. So now, this is first precept, Isaiah 10:1. It says, woe to them that decree unrighteous decrees. So destruction is to them, the Lord said, that decree who makes laws that are unrighteous. And what makes a law unrighteous? When it's totally against the laws of the Most High. When righteousness, which is the laws of God, of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, is not established in a land, then that makes it an unrighteous decree. It says in that right grievousness, which they have prescribed, because these same people say in God they trust, and that America, was established upon the laws of the Bible. But as we see, America does not uphold, the standard of the Bible. They don't even acknowledge it in no way, shape, or form or fashion. They'll tell you to swear on the Bible when you go to court, but they don't uphold any of the laws, which is wicked to do so anyway, for them to have anybody swearing on the Bible, showing you that this man is the wicked. So it says, woe unto him that decree unrighteous decrees, which is Esau, Edom, the wicked is ruling, and their right grievousness. See, all his laws are grievous, which you could just put another word that's interchangeable there is wickedness. All his laws are wicked. So, and he that right wickedness. So when he pushes forth his legislation, all of them are wicked. None of them upholds righteousness in the eyes of the Most High. It says, which they have prescribed. See, these are the things that they prescribe. These are the thoughts and imagination of their own hearts, not the mind of the Most High, not the laws of the Most High. They're not governed by the laws of the Most High. This man thinks that his laws supersedes the laws of the Most High. He believes that the Most High, made mistakes, and that he's coming to bring his laws to actually, clean up, if you will, the mistakes that was made by the Most High. And these are some of the things that's within his laws. This is the way that this man thinks. Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, who is the man of sin, the son of perdition, He believes that the Most High made mistakes. So his laws are supposed to supersede the laws of the Most High because he believes his way is righteous and that the way of righteousness is not right. That's why the scriptures tell you in Isaiah 5:20, woe unto them that call good evil, and evil good. And that's this man of sin, Esau Edom. Going back to Isaiah 10:2, it says to turn aside the needy from judgment and to take away the right from the poor of my people. Speaking of you Israelites, that widows may be their prey and that they may rob the fatherless. And all of this is to do what? To destroy you Jakes. But even in doing so, it's causing Satan to be against Satan. The scriptures speak about that. I didn't want to go into that, but I'll just quote it. A kingdom divided within itself cannot stand. So we see the troopers and police people in the police force, people in the military are starting to resign and to quit. Why? Because they're against these mandates, this Crown 99. And ultimately, you're going to see even more resistance as this MOTB is going to be made mandatory. You're going to see many people that's coming against this NWO that this man is trying to establish on the earth, which this is the beginning of it. The germ, the juice that he's trying to put up in you. This is the beginning of the establishment of Satan's NWO, with Esau pushing that. Esau being Satan, he that is adverse to truth and adverse to the Most High ultimately. So the Lord said that they do these things to destroy you Israelites. And in doing so, you even have those of their own people, who are tired of it too, who are sick and tired of the nonsense of this devil. Because see, all of it is causing problems throughout all of America, throughout all of the earth. This man ruling is not just causing problems to one segment of people or one demographic. It's causing problems to everybody because it's the same man that will go and put sanctions on different nations. There's different nations, dozens of nations around the world that have sanctions on them. And some of these are great nations going into like Russia, North Korea, China, etc. Certain nations that this man will put sanctions on, and completely cut off nations from international trade and commerce. So there's plenty of nations and people that's tired of this man's ways. But this mandate is causing problems. And it's going to continue to cause more problems once again. And Satan is going to continue to be divided within himself because that's the will ultimately of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. So let's get some more. Continuing on. It says, let's go to Psalm 10 and see what it says in Psalm, the 10th chapter. Psalm 10 and verse 3, it says, for the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, which his heart's desire is to rule the earth in wickedness and to give everybody the MOTB, which is found in Revelation, the 13th chapter. That's his heart's desire ultimately, which the Most High is not going to allow for that to be accomplished. Psalm 10 and 3, for the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire and blesses the covetous, whom the Lord abhorreth. See, everything that he does, it goes against the will of the Most High. So those that are wicked on the earth, he celebrates those people and they get promoted and they continue to live and reign in wickedness. They continue, to live the so-called good life. They continue to live high on the hog. These are your elites, around the world. Start with Esau and all the people that have bought into his NWO, his philosophies. That's why the scripture said that the earth is mad from the wine of Babylon, the philosophies. Continuing on, Psalm 10 and 4, the wicked, speaking of Esau, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after the Most High. But see, once again, in no way, shape, or form does this man want to consider the words of the Most High. This whole Christianity thing, that's all a ruse. That's all, a mirage. This man is the wicked. He's hiding behind, these talking points and these philosophies and all the things that he's pushing out. Deception has been the way that Esau Edom has ruled the world, So he supposedly took on, the ways of the Bible and called himself a Christian, going back, into the time of and a little before the time of the Greco-Roman rule, Greco-Roman history. He started taking on these ways as it continued on into the time of the Renaissance. So as this man said that he was a Christian, he wanted the world to believe through deception that he was righteous, that everything that he was doing was coming in the name of God and righteousness and wanting to bring everybody together. But all of that is against the will of the Most High. See, the Most High never Never ever. Nowhere in the scripture said that all people should come together. That's why the Tower of Babel got destroyed. The Most High was never with his people being one with all the other nations, or all the nations being one with one another. The Lord always separated the sons of Adam when you read throughout the scriptures, and you read Deuteronomy 32nd chapter is one example. Now continuing on. It says God is not in all of his thoughts, so he's not considered the Most High. Because if he considered the Most High, he wouldn't do the wickedness that he does. You know, the children of Israel wouldn't be in the condition that they are in. If this man was righteous, knowing all of the terrible, tumultuous things that he's done, the way he's destroyed our nation, and he made no account of our labors, the scriptures say, showing you that this man is the wicked. Psalm 10:5, his ways are always grievous. That's how we know that this is the wickedness ruling. Reading it again. This is why these troopers are resigning, and policemen and soldiers in the military. This is going on, you know, in many different facets and many different sectors, you know, of this country. So we're dealing more specifically with law enforcement. You got people doing the same thing in the financial and banking industries, and you've had a lot of CEOs over the last few years that have resigned. This is going on in many ways, but now this MOTB is pushing it to another level. It's pushing it closer to the edge, so to speak. So let's go back to Psalm 10:5. It says his ways are always grievous. Esau Edom's ways are grievous. They're wicked. They're unrighteous. That's why I said, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees. It says, thy judgments are far above, out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. And he does this, and he does it to these nations by trying to do the same thing when they have these G20 summit meetings, you know, these UN council meetings, so on and so forth. He puffeth at his enemies. And what's coming from that? The nations turning against Esau Edom, because they know that this man is the wicked. Let's get another precept going into the wickedness that this man is displaying on the earth and why his own people is turning against him. Psalm 94:20, and it reads, shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a law? So all of his laws are grievous and mischief, wickedness. None of it's righteous. Everything that he's doing is wicked, because the Lord said, what's crooked cannot be made straight, speaking of Esau Edom. So I read it again, Psalm 94:20, and it reads, shall the throne of iniquity, and the throne is rulership, symbolic of rulership, of iniquity, shall the rulership of the evildoers, iniquity is evil doing. So shall the rulership of the evildoers, speaking of Esau Edom once again, when you read Malachi 1:4, he's known as the border of wickedness. So shall the throne of iniquity, the rulership of the evildoers, which are the Edomites, have fellowship with thee? No, we're not supposed to be one with this man's system. You know, in every way that we can, within reason, we try to be against this man's system. And the main way we do that is by returning to the living power, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You know, that's how you flee from the midst of Babylon. That's how you come out of her, my people. It's by coming back to the Lord and learning what is righteous, eating that which is good. Psalm 94:20, once again, shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a law. So all of this man's ways are wickedness, and his laws are the lies. It's the way that he lies. The scriptures speak about him being a liar. He does that, you know, most notably by passing these lying, you know, contrary, you know, decrees, laws. It's through his laws. That's how the snake continues to deceive and lie, you know. So now, let's get another precept real quick. We know Job 9:24, that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. You know, so the wicked is who's ruling. This is speaking about Esau Edom, Habakkuk 1:4. It says, therefore the law is slacked. So these laws, you know, which the scriptures just spoke and told us, that they're grievous. It also spoke and told us, you know, that this is the throne of iniquity, the rulership of the wicked. Why? Because his laws, you know, are slack, the scriptures say. So let's get that word slack. So once again, it says, therefore, you know, this is going back to Habakkuk 1:4. It says, therefore, the law is slacked. So the law is slacked. Let's see what this word slack goes back to. Salakia. So the law is slacked because the man of sin is ruling. That's why the law is slacked. It says to grow numb, to be feeble, to be numbered, to be feeble, you know. So it goes into to be faint, to sleep, to cease, meaning it doesn't go forth. So let's go back. When something is slack, it's not going forth. So that's the righteous laws of the Most High. Therefore, the law is slack, and judgment doth never go forth. So righteous judgment never goes forth in the system that Esau set up. For the wicked doth compass the righteous, see, because in the way he set it up, and there was an article that came out a few years ago, and we spoke about it a few times at camp, and I know brothers have seen and heard about it, where there's an article out saying it would take 200 years for so-called, Black, Hispanic, and Native American people to be where Esau is in society now. Because when you look it up, Esau, the average income of the everyday Edomite is about $75,000 to $80,000 a year, and the average income of your average Israelite, so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American person, in this country is around about $35,000 to $40,000 a year. So look at that disparity. That proves the scripture right here, Habakkuk 1:4. Therefore, the law is slack, and judgment never goeth forth. For the wicked doth compass the righteous. See, he's compassed the righteous. He set it up to be that way. That's his wicked legislation, these grievous laws. Therefore, wrong judgment proceedeth. So, therefore, everything he's doing is wrong. Everything he's doing is wicked. Everything he's doing is contrary. So he's your adversary, and not, your ally. He's the ally, to wickedness, not to righteousness, which that's only for the elect of the nation of Israel. So 2/3 of our people are going to die right along with this man because they believe in his laws, which are all lies. And, they believe in his system. They're going to continue to believe in the system. That's why they go in and taking the JAB. That's why they're doing it. Jake is doing that because they believe ultimately in Esau's system. So now let's close it out with this. 2 Ezra 15. And I'll start at 1. It says, Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people, the people of the Lord, the Israel of God, is speaking of the elect, the Bakarim, and the Hebrew. So when we go out and speak these words, we're speaking to the elect, because 2/3 refuse to come back, showing that they are not the people of the Most High. Behold, 2 Ezra 15:1, Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people, which are the Israelites, the words of prophecy. So the words of prophecy are going forth, which is the end times. We're in the end time prophecies, the very end. So we're in the dregs. We're entering into the dregs, the bitter end that's coming, which is the time of Jacob's trouble, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. So the Lord's put the words of prophecy in the prophet's mouth, because these words are the words of the Most High that he foretold through the prophets. Let's go down. Let's go down to verse 12. And it reads, so the Lord says, speaking my people's ears, the words of prophecy. And let's hear about the prophecies that we see going on right now and why I played this video. 2 Ezra 15 and 12. It says, Egypt shall mourn, America, Babylon the Great, the land of our captivity, is also known as Egypt, like ancient Egypt, which goes back to bondage. It says, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. So this is the punishment that the Lord is bringing upon this place. That's how we know we're at the end, because these are the plagues. Everything that's going on is showing forth these plagues in the last days. And the Lord's going to continue to send more, more of the pestilence, diseases, race wars, civil war, civil unrest. And that's what we're seeing. When we read a little more, what's going on here and what's going on nationwide that you see here on the screen with Massachusetts and other states, dealing with the military, the police force, dealing with the troopers, etc. All this is pushing forth that sedition the scriptures speak about, the overthrow of the government, the race wars, once again, the civil war, the civil unrest. Right now we're in the beginning of inflation going to hyperinflation, the cost of gas, the cost of goods. Brother posted in the group the other day, I don't know where it was at, but it was a pack of steaks. It was like $50, which normally is like $25, showing you hyperinflation is coming. So now the Lord said these are the punishments that he's going to send upon it, which are the plagues. It says 2 Ezra 15 and 13, they that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through the blasting and hail, and with the fearful consolation. Verse 14, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. So destruction is coming to them, that's in this world. The Lord in Isaiah 13 says he's punishing the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity. So once again, verse 14, 2 Ezra 15 and 14, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. So destruction is coming to this world, but the elect are promised, covering, and the elect are promised what? Ultimately, salvation, and they're promised, the protection of the Lord and the hand of the Lord to be upon them. The elect are promised, to eat in these days and to drink in these days, when 2/3 are not. Verse 15, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. So killing, death, rampant death, murder, all forms of death and destruction is what's drawing nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, which are race wars, and swords in their hand, and modern day sword is the gun. For there shall be sedition among men, the overthrow of the government, and invading one another. So you're going to see people that's going to be invading one another, robbing each other, killing, murder going to be up in the thousands of percent all around the world. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. See, going back to these laws, you see that these troopers are not regarding those kings and princes are those in rulership. And the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So whatever they think to do, it's a time of lawlessness coming where 911 is not going to be available. So people are going to do whatever's in, their power. The scriptures talk about women are going to be getting ravished and children are going to be getting dashed to pieces. Verse 17, so you're going to see this dog-eat-dog world. It's going to return. That's all the Spirit of the Lord. But the elect, those that come back, they're promised protection. It says a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. So now you're going to see as more and more of these troopers and different law enforcement officials are not able to do their jobs. They resign, etc. because of all this commotion. You're going to see they're going to start shutting down the cities. They're going to start shutting down the cities to try to do what? To try to, stop people from being able to move freely. That's when the National Guard comes in. They're already using the National Guard for many things already. Dealing with the truckers, I was reading about that last week. And the National Guard, just in general, dealing with the border and many other things. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. See, all this is going to happen because of pride. Because the scriptures speak, in Obadiah, the 1st chapter, about how this man, is the epitome of pride. This man is the epitome of pride, Esau Edom. So because of his pride is why these cities around the world, starting here in Babylon the Great, are going to be destroyed, and why the people are going to be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, meaning you're going to see people killing their neighbors. You're going to see people robbing people and murdering them for nothing, for food, for any goods they think that they might have. It could be they think they got gasoline, or, stored up in their house, or food, or any kind of good. This is what's coming, the Lord said, because of lack of bread and for great tribulation. Ultimately, when people are hungry, when the famine is hit here, which is another big part of this plague, and it's an orchestrated famine going on. That's why when you see all these ships that's all around America, on the coastlines of America, in the Pacific, and, in the Gulf, and going into the Atlantic, that's going to continue to cause more problems as well. All those goods that people are not getting, it's not available. Verse 21, like as they do yet this day unto my chosen, so will I do also unto them, and recompense them in their bosom, saith the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. So the Lord is coming back to recompense all these things. But Salakia, I wanted to finish off by going back to verse 19. 2 Ezra 15:19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of lack of bread and for great tribulation. So this is what's coming. For the lack of bread and tribulation, hardship, death, and destruction, which is once again the plagues of the Lord ascended to Babylon the Great. So with that, I hope that was edifying. Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Merkach Wadash. Double honor to the elders and apostles who labor faithfully in this truth, and all the true teachers of Israel today. Peace, love, blessings, and salutations to the hopeful elect, Habayath Madabadah, the house of David. The brothers labor to make their calling of election sure day in and day out. And to the Akim and Akwathim, the brothers and sisters who also listen and believe on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, to you I say shalom as well. So shalom to the hopeful elect.